Welcome everyone to our 2022 Counsellors Coffee Break, brought to you by Booth University College. I'm Georgine Van de Mosler, Director of Advancement at Booth UC, and I'm happy to be our host for the event today. We're coming to you from one of the beautiful classrooms in Peterson Hall, which is located at our 290 Vaughan building. Today is National Indigenous Veterans Day, and we are humbled and honored to be on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We acknowledge this to be a meeting place of culture and community, as in the past, the diversity of peoples who occupy this land and the emerging cultures that enrich our community today present to us an invitation to build a stronger community as we learn to walk gently with one another in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. Our president, Dr. Susan Van Dynen, could not be with us in person today as she is teaching a class, imagine that, but she took some time to reflect and tape a message for us all. Dr. Van Dynen was the Dean of the School for Continuing Studies here at Booth from 2014 to 2017, and since 2017, she's continued to teach cadets at the College for Officer Training and certificate courses in chaplaincy, management, and leadership. She has a Doctor of Ministry in Counseling from Providence University College and Seminary and a Master of Divinity from Tyndale University in Toronto. She is a certified professional leadership coach, has extensive experience as a presenter at national and international conferences, and is a sought-after executive leadership and life coach consultant, and our wonderful leader at Booth UC. Please welcome Susan Van Dynen.
Hello, I'm Susan Van Dynen, and it is such a privilege to serve at Booth University College. I simply want to take this opportunity to be able to express a warm and enthusiastic welcome as you begin this new term at Booth University College. I'm glad you're here, whether you're studying on campus or in the Zoom classroom or online. I hope you have an amazing semester filled with accomplishment and lots of engagement with others. Whether you are a new or returning student or a student from abroad, Booth University College is here to support you with your personal, your professional, and your academic experiences. While this semester will again be different, we wanted to offer two ways that you can continue to engage with us and the community here at Booth. So we embark on this semester through the blended hybrid posture. We will continue our work to advocate and to bring to you ways to connect with one another, and I want you to make no doubt about it that we are here for you. During this semester, we need to continue to look out for each other, to band together, and yes, that means to continue to wear those masks when appropriate, and also to social distance when appropriate. As we commence life together, I'm reminded of these words: fortitude, wholeness, hope, and light. I think of fortitude. It seems a little bit of a heavy word, doesn't it? But what surprises me most is how many people don't think they have fortitude. How many of them consider it to be a trait reserved only for a few. And yes, it is true that fortitude has been hard won by some who have endured extreme situations and have drawn on that deep courage of the soul. But can't fortitude also be forged in moments that are more common? Like the little boy or the little girl who is learning to ride their bike for the first time, and then they find that strength after falling off to get back on and ride. Or the woman who so desperately wants that job, even though she's been told no, and still finds a way to get her resume in the door. Or the man who sits on the tractor in the prairie fields under the scorching heat of summer, and in a few months' time has a crop to show for it. Or the student who moves onto the path like you are doing that will lead to their place in the world through lectures, through books, through assignments, through discussions, through exams, and so much more. Fortitude often isn't earned in a day, but in the steady resolve to learn from that which grows us. I think of wholeness. This time of year is a very favorite of mine, not only because of the beauty of the turning leaves or the long-awaited respite from a heat-scorched summer with the eventual cooling air that arrives with autumn, but also because fall has a way of prompting us to take stock of our year before it's over. Whether it's intentional or not, in the fall we start to shore up our footing as we enter the final months of this year. And you know, I think often that there's a quiet confidence to this season. Yes, I know that the word whole can lead some people to associate the idea of wholeness with that flawless state of being, that unmarked, unblemished, not a crack can you find. Almost sounds like the word perfect, doesn't it? But as I thought this over, I could see where we could get this kind of perception. I think our culture has made it natural to perceive our identity from a place of lack rather than a place of abundance. It's not uncommon for us to evaluate who we are based on that we are not or not yet. But it's through the lens of wholeness that I think we can glean the clarity necessary to see ourselves as all that we already are. And to me, there's a grace woven into the fabric of wholeness that invites us to live in that abundance of our story. So I would encourage you to live out your story here at Booth University College, every piece of it, the broken, the hard, the sad, just as much as the fulfilled, the good, and the happy, all stitched together. That makes us who we are as individuals. I think of hope when I see you coming and going to and from classes, eating at the tables in the bistros, leaning your heads in together as you're listening and talking amongst each other, or in that hush stillness of the library. Whether you're staff, faculty, or student, I think of hope. You believe in what you're doing and why you're doing it. You believe that this is the place for you at this time. And that means there is hope for this world out there, that your education will make for a better world. I also think of light, last of all, and we're going to let the Apostle Paul share his thoughts with us on that. In Philippians chapter 2, the last part of verse 5, he writes, "In which you shine like stars." Now, I'm not referring to the stars of the world, those movie stars or sports stars or the wealthy who have stars on that walk of fame. I am talking about the heroes who will shine in a world that needs light. We are fascinated by stars. I love nothing better than in the dark of the night to go out on my deck and to look up and to see the stars. And Booth University College is a place to stretch, to grow, to explore what you believe and why you believe, and to look up. And at the end of it all, to go out into a stunningly beautiful world and yet a desperately dark world and be that difference maker, to be that light. Well, at the beginning of the start of a fresh semester, I want to personally wish you health, safety, happiness, and God's richest blessings. God bless you.
A huge thank you to Susan. And now I am thrilled to welcome our alum and keynote speaker, Marion Cooper. Welcome, Marion. Thank you for being here. When I contacted you asking if you were interested in addressing us at this event as a keynote speaker, you immediately said yes, and I thank you so much for that. And you knew exactly what our audience might want to hear. So you'll be presenting on care for all in education, strategies for promoting the mental health and well-being of our education sector workforce. Marion herself graduated in 1992 from Booth University College with a BA in social work. She is the Chief Executive Officer of the Canadian Mental Health Association in Winnipeg and Manitoba. She's also served as the Executive Lead for Strategic Partnerships with the CMHA National Office. and supporting partnerships with Indigenous organizations and communities from January 2018 to 2020. You are a mental health and addictions leader who has worked tirelessly in our community in various positions since 1992. You were instrumental in establishing the mental health promotion and prevention team at the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority as well from 2003 to 2014. Marion is passionate about recovery, social justice, system transformation, co-design, and innovation to advance mental health and well-being for the entire population. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, and it's great to be here, and really appreciate the opportunity to share, important messages about mental health and what we need to all be doing to protect our mental health. And we've come out of a very challenging time, and this topic is so top of mind for so many of us. In fact, probably all of us in different ways. So this is a true opportunity to kind of share sort of our key messages at CMHA with important parts of our community. And when you invited me, I immediately thought that's a great way for us to get our message out and to work in partnership as you continue to, dialogue with educators and counselors. So Care for All in Education is a new initiative with the Canadian Mental Health Association, and it really was developed in response to trying to address the concerns and challenges that were experienced by our education workforce that really were, I think, heightened through the pandemic. And we know that we've all been trying to find our way over the last couple of years and probably continue to do so. But one of the things that we've all come out of this realizing is we can't take our mental health for granted. And we have to be actively engaged in not only taking care of our physical health, but actually taking care of our mental health and being proactive around strategies to take care of our well-being. So, to kind of start this conversation, because it's a conversation, and I hope all of you that are listening and part of this dialogue today are having this conversation, in your school, with your team, and with students, but also with colleagues, because certainly for those of us who work in the education sector or in the helping profession, we're busy thinking about the people we're responsible to support. And what we want to encourage all of us to do is actually to think about how this relates to not only your work supporting students, but your work supporting your colleagues and your own well-being. So mental health and why should we care about it is kind of the beginning of this conversation. And we know that mental health, often when people hear the word mental health, they think mental illness, but what we're talking about is something different. We're talking about what are the things that help you to feel mentally healthy, psychologically well. So that's really about purpose and meaning, the quality of our relationships with one another, feeling connected. And of course, the pandemic has left us all feeling rather disconnected. And so it's no wonder that we've felt depleted. But that sense of connection is so tied, social well-being is so tied to our well-being overall. Having a good sense of who we are and ourselves, and being able to really cope with stress and challenges that life brings. And we know that there's many things that can be unexpected, and we never know what's around the corner. So being ready to face those challenges. And of course, above all, it's that ability to enjoy life. And ultimately, we want to have life satisfaction and feel good about ourselves, but also enjoy life and what life has to offer. So caring for your own mental health is probably the number one job that we all have, because this helps us to do our work in our jobs, in our careers, support our families in a way that allows us to really show up for people and for our responsibilities. So with that, I want to just share a little bit about, this topic of stress. And, stress is a reality. And, we are all on a day-to-day basis challenged by, life's challenges and stressors. And stress is normal. So, I know some of you who are school counselors out there have this conversation with students as they stop by, or colleagues who stop by. And we're probably the ones that are always reminding people that stress is normal. And we know that's true. And that stress can cause physical symptoms. And we know that's true. And stress is not the same for everyone. And so what might feel stressful for me may not be stressful for you. So recognizing our individual differences is really an important part of being a mental health promoter and supporting others. Is stress bad? It's can be, but it's not always bad. In fact, we all need a little stress, a little bit of, pressure sometimes to kind of keep our adrenaline going and get us to those good places in life and to achieve things. But chronic stress can be challenging, and so that's really part of the conversation. When stress is really chronic, it can turn into other health issues, including mental health challenges, mental illness. So if we kind of continue on thinking about this conversation, I just want to remind all of us that there's some symptoms to chronic stress, and part of our conversation today is about increasing and reminding you of what those symptoms might be, because our mental health literacy, our knowledge and our understanding is an important part of being available and being ready to support others, but also to be able to check out with ourselves, how are we doing? So I'm not going to read through the list. The slides are there to remind you. And these are things that we may, think that we know, but being able to check in and just remind ourselves is an important part of doing our own mental health checkup and asking yourself, how are you doing? And where are you at around your stress level? And how are you managing the day-to-day challenges? And paying attention to that and listening to our bodies and listening to the situations that we find ourselves in. If we're feeling depleted, if we're starting to feel burnt out, or if we're feeling irritable and impatient, pay attention to that. Because when we pay attention to those things early on and make adjustments, then we're able to manage stress in a more positive way. If you are feeling stress and feeling under pressure, as I'm sure all of you are, as our educators in our education system, whether that's in schools or post-secondary settings, we know that pressure during the cycles of the school year can change. Now we're on the home stretch until the holiday break, and I know that can bring a lot of challenges, and you may be feeling a lot of pressure. And you're not alone, so that's an important thing to remember, that you're not alone, and having these conversations creates a sense of safety for all of us to feel like it's okay to talk about these things. We know that if we talk more openly about it, we can get strategies and suggestions from others that help us to manage our own stress. We did some work with the University of Winnipeg a couple years ago around understanding the impact stress was having on our education workforce. And I just want to talk a little bit about that study and that work that we did, because it really kind of led us to this initiative around Care for All in Education. We had learned through our partnerships at the University of Winnipeg that 46% of Manitoba education sector staff rapidly reach the red zone of emotional exhaustion and burnout. So that's a significant number, and it's something that has really fueled sort of our initiative around trying to sort of strengthen and fortify some resources to support the education workforce. And that nearly 20% higher rate of exhaustion around educators across Canada. So this isn't unique to Manitoba, this is all over Canada. We've seen a high level of exhaustion and stress really impacting our education workforce. So it's why it's really important. We know that a strong, healthy workforce leads to good schools and good school cultures for our staff that work in those schools, but also for the kids and for the young people that show up every day to participate in their educational pursuits. So it's really important we pay attention to this. So who needs support? And as school counselors, you may be the go-to person that is often tapped on to support others, support students, even support colleagues, educational assistants, other teachers, even your administration team. You may be that gatekeeper, that key person, but you are probably also the person who needs support. So I want to say front and center, you need to pay attention to your mental health, but it is your colleagues who are teachers and educational assistants. It's the janitors and the staff that support the operations of the school on a day-to-day basis. It's our bus drivers, and it's the lunch monitors, and all of the folks that make school happen and create that community. So this is really, really important, and I think it's relevant for everyone. So that's a reminder that, you know, even if you're the mental health go-to person, you have mental health, and you need to take care of your mental health and put on your oxygen mask first, dare I say. So education for all, care for all in education. This great initiative had been initiated in 2021, funded through the province of Manitoba, and has continued for its second year of funding. So I really want to promote this initiative because it's resources that have been developed for all of you and for those that work in our schools and our post-secondary settings. So I'd like to suggest that I share a little bit about how this resource can be of service to you. It really is a dedicated portal, a web-based portal that is packed full of mental health resources, and we've been working hard to ensure that it's updated and it's relevant and it's co-developed by educators and people who work in the education system. So nothing for us without us is sort of the leading way that we've developed this resource. We have a team of wellness support specialists. We have instant chat options, so when you are on the website and you have questions or you're looking to find a resource, you can connect with someone right away. We offer courses, and we have a whole range of online courses that we've been delivering virtually and in person, going out to classrooms, into schools, meeting with staff in staff meetings, promoting it, and working with all of the superintendents to get the word out so that people know about this great resource. And it's available in French, so it's available in English and French, so that's an important feature for all of our schools, including our Francophone schools. So Rana, invite all of you to check that out. We'll make sure that the website is promoted on this YouTube live stream shortly. So when you check out the resource, one of the key features is our wellness specialist, and they're there for you. They're there to listen. They're not counselors or therapists, but they're there as coaches to help you navigate your wellness needs and to provide you with some practical strategies and supports to coach you on your journey to your own well-being. We provide support, education, and resources. We provide a whole bunch of mental health literature and services related to best practices and strategies for promoting your well-being, information on community resources that are available here in Manitoba. And we can help you create a wellness plan. You know, I know our counselors in schools are always developing wellness plans with students or career plans, but what about your wellness plan? And here's an opportunity to have some support to develop that. And there's opportunity for courses to strengthen your knowledge, your understanding, and to develop your toolkit and strategies to promote your well-being. And the best part of this, of course, is that it's all free. And there's no cost to you, there's no waiting list, it's available now. So that's a really important part of the journey, because I know that navigating mental health services can be super challenging. There's often wait lists, and often people need something now, something in the moment. This is a confidential resource that's available. So I'm just going to share a little bit about how you'd reach our wellness specialist. The number is here on the slides, and we're available from 8 until 8 every day, Monday through Friday. That's through live chat. And then you can also send an email. I know many of you are managing very busy schedules, and you might be thinking, well, I don't have time to sit here and do a live chat. But you may have time to write that email and reach out and connect. And you can also go to our website and navigate the website and contact us through that. So there's an email connection, there's a website connection, there's live chat, and there's a phone number. And so we want to encourage all of you to explore those resources and just check us out. And maybe you aren't feeling you need anything right now, but you are that go-to person. So you want to check this resource out so that you have confidence that if you pass it on to somebody else, that you know that you've explored it, you know a little bit more about it, and with confidence can share it with another person. So when you go to the website, you'll actually discover that there's a range of courses, and we're always developing and keeping those courses fresh and relevant, and getting topics and ideas from all of you on things that you'd like to learn more about, or a topic that you think we should develop a course. So you can make suggestions as well. I've put up here some courses that were offered in October as we had rescheduled this session. Those courses can have a continuous availability, and you can go check out the website to find out what our current course offerings are. But they are topics that range from things like anxiety, managing stress, mental health awareness, addressing depression, and the list goes on and on. We also offer CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, that builds in mindfulness strategies, and that's a continuous offering through the Care for All in Education portal. And if you go there, you can actually see what else is being planned and delivered on that website. It's hard for me to stay up to date because we're always adding, so I really encourage all of you to go to the website. You'll also see that we have courses on compassion in the workplace, walking with grief and loss, setting boundaries, and psychological health and safety in the workplace, in your workplace, in schools across Manitoba. So again, it just gives you a little bit of a flavor of the kinds of offerings that we have. So what can you do? I'm going to invite you to take a look at this website and actually write that down. And if you don't have time to click on that link today, make a note of it, schedule it into your calendar. Take some time to explore this beautiful resource that has been created specifically for our Manitoba education workforce, which is all of you. I would invite you to consider reaching out. It is a free resource, and maybe even check out one of our courses by registering and making that gift to you right now of setting aside some time to take a course. And you might think, well, I know all about anxiety, I know all about mindfulness, and I know all about setting boundaries, but these are courses that are really about the life journey. And sometimes there's messages in there that we need to hear right now to help us be reminded of those strategies for our own well-being, but also as we support others. So really encourage you not to take your own mental health for granted, to carve out some time and to prioritize your mental health and spend some time with the Care for All in Education project. I'm so excited about this resource. We're really thrilled to be able to support our education workforce. And as we've done that, as we go out and speak to our schools across the province, there are so many champions of mental health in Manitoba schools. And I know many of you are those champions right now. And it's never been more timely to prioritize mental health. And it's been so really refreshing to hear so much conversation happening around the topic of mental health. So I really, really am so happy. Mental health is a topic that so many people have, been, uncomfortable about, and we know that for people who experience mental illness, that having someone that they can trust and feeling a sense of openness to be able to bring forward their struggles is so important as we all, increase our mental health literacy and feel more confident and comfortable being able to talk about that important topic because it's just so relevant for all of us.
Thank you, Marion. As we head into the fall, like you said, and this end of term, having a checkup, going to the website and giving yourself a checkup, just like you would with the doctor, or an eye checkup or the dentist. Go for a mental health checkup. I know that I'll be visiting it. There was a lot of information. I'm very happy that we were able to capture this on the recorded version of this event. And many of you may want to replay this segment. And in fact, I think we will use this segment on its own. So stay tuned for a link to that. And the benefit of recording this live is that we can have a do-over and share this with friends and family. So don't keep it to yourself. Spread the good news. Thank you very much, Marion.
Thank you.
We may be small, but we are mighty, and this is reflected in our premises as well as our community of staff and faculty, alumni, and importantly, students. Take a look at what Booth UC's campus looks like now.
To Booth University College. Booth UC is a private Christian institution in the heart of downtown Winnipeg. We combine Christian faith and rigorous scholarship with a commitment to education for a better world. If you are looking for a supportive and connected student community, Booth UC is the perfect place. Being in downtown Winnipeg means you can walk to places like the Forks, the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and Bell MTS Place. Let's take a look at why so many of our students call this place home. The main campus building, or the Waldron Building, is located at 447 Webb Place. Our front desk and student services team are available as you walk in. If you need a question answered, this is the place to be. Located right off the main entrance is the Commons. It's a student space where you can study, watch TV, or play pool. Also conveniently located on the main floor is one of the most popular gathering places at Booth UC, Booth Bistro. The bistro offers fantastic food at great prices. At Booth UC, your academic success is highly important to us. Located in the basement is Booth UC's Academic Learning Center. The ALC provides in-person and virtual support, email appointments, workshops, and study sessions. Our film lab is also in the basement level and offers a comfortable place for English and film studies students to view new releases and classic films. This is Booth UC's Social Work Lab. Booth UC's social work students use this lab to facilitate learning. They can take part in group video sessions, practice their skills, and receive feedback from professors. At Booth UC, you are more than just a number. That is why our maximum class capacity is 50 students. Our focus is on creating student-centered small classes where you will quickly get to know your professors and classmates. The Hetherington Chapel is host to our weekly community gatherings, student worship band, and Bible study group. If you're in need of a quiet study space or an area to hang out with friends, our third floor lounge is a great spot. Or if you want some fresh air, our rooftop patio is a great spot to study during the warmer months. Need to get in touch with your professor? Faculty offices are conveniently located in 2 wings on the 3rd floor. Living on campus is very affordable, and your monthly fee includes a meal plan at our bistro. Residence is on the upper floors of our main campus building. Each floor has great common areas to cook, watch TV, lounge, and do laundry. Located a short walk from the Waldron Building is Peterson Hall, newly renovated in 2015. Here you will find state-of-the-art classrooms, our school for continuing studies, and our library. One of the main hubs at Booth UC is the John Fairbank Memorial Library. A great feature of Booth UC's academic program is that each student is assigned their own personal librarian. If you're looking for a quality university experience that focuses on your individual needs, one that brings together Christian faith and a passion for learning and service, you'll find it at Booth University College.
And now we get to meet the professors who roam these halls. We're fortunate to be joined both in person and virtually. First by the director of the School of Business, Wendy Thiessen. She's the interim academic dean, Buita Workington, who will speak on behalf of the School of Social Work. And we'll also hear from the acting director of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, Dr. Evan Curtis. Once again, that pesky teaching got in the way of Wendy and Evan being here live, so we'll start our conversation of why Booth UC. Why should your students start here? With Wendy Thiessen's recorded message for us all.
Thiessen and I have the privilege of leading the business school. There's a few things that I really appreciate about Booth. One of them is how they live in and embrace their downtown location. Secondly, I think they have the best tagline, education for a better world. It inspires me every day. In embracing their downtown location, Booth creates opportunities for staff and for students to connect with and serve in our downtown communities. When I am serving with the community, in the community, my worldview expands and my faith noticeably deepens. By engaging with some of our most vulnerable citizens, Booth students can expand their own worldview. My observation of today's university students is that they want to discover their purpose. They want their education to be practical, and they want it to be a good use of their time. They are impatient, and they want to have an impact. They want to do well while doing good. They like to get their hands and their brains engaged in solving real-world problems. They often learn while doing, and they're passionate about helping, fixing, changing. At Booth's Business School, we focus on a few important concepts. We believe that class time is critical, and students will benefit from being in smaller classes. Often, subject matter experts are invited in to speak to our students. Secondly, every student has access to an advisor, and multiple one-on-one advisor meetings will happen every year. We also believe that students should be able to learn from each other, and so group discussions and projects will be facilitated. Our students come from across Canada and abroad. Students will have the opportunity to connect with each other and to compare life experiences. And finally, we hope that many of our students will have an opportunity to serve in the community, learning about real-world challenges of some of Winnipeg's most vulnerable neighborhoods. All of these items are practical enhancements to a solid business curriculum. Our students are ready to engage in the business arena. We have graduates currently working in various sectors, including government. I trust you have learned something today, and I am always available to answer questions. I hope to see you at Booth.
Welcome, Buita, and thank you, Wendy. We have Associate Professor Buita Workington, who's our interim academic dean and longtime social work prof at Booth.
Absolutely.
How many years?
17-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That's a
Been around a long time.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for taking time, Buita, out of your
Yeah.
teaching schedule and your
Yeah.
academic dean schedule to be with us this morning. So you're going to wear your School of Social Work hat today and speak to us on behalf of the School of Social Work. So I thought we'd start sort of at the top. Tell us what is so great about our program at Booth University College.
Oh, our School of Social Work program is just fantastic. It's one of the top programs in the province. We get employers, we get placement agencies always asking us for placements, seeking out our grads. We've got a really great, strong program. I think part of what distinguishes us is that ability of to connect with our students. So our students come in from all over the province. We walk alongside them on this journey as they kind of figure out, who am I now and who am I becoming, and what does it look like for me to become a social work professional? And so, gathering them in, walking alongside them, and helping them to open them up to the world of the possibilities that social work can bring. As Marion Cooper was talking about, she talked about mental health, and mental health is definitely one of those areas that many of our grads practice in. But people might not know that social work is broader than just child welfare. And so we have students doing placements in all kinds of areas, like addictions, corrections, child welfare is certainly one of them, school social workers. So those of you who are guidance counselors, I'm sure that you're working closely with school social workers as well. We have social workers working with older adults, whether it's in personal care homes, whether it's in agencies and organizations in the community that are supporting older adults. So there's all kinds of places where students can get involved and can find a niche that that fits their skill set and fits their interests.
Very, very interesting. I know that we go out, there's a lot of practicum involved with their social work degree.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about our connection with placement agencies
Sure.
and how that impacts them, both their time at Booth and then at the agency and going forward?
Sure. All of our social work graduates must get around 700 hours of placement hours, so practical experience. So your first 2 years in the program, you're going to be kind of developing your skills. You're going to be taking all kinds of courses here. We are a liberal arts college as well, and so we have a real core of courses that we want you to get exposed to. English, social sciences, we have some religion courses, all of those things to give you a well-rounded education. One of the positives with that is that you can also, if you're coming from high school and you're not totally sure what you want to do, you have the opportunity to do a bachelor in social work with a minor in psychology. Or you're really interested in film studies. We've got a fantastic English and film program, and so you can connect with that and do a minor in that. So those are the kinds of things that you do in your first 2 years. In your final 2 years, you're focusing more on the social work courses, but you're also going out into the field and doing placement 2 days a week. And over those 2 years, you're going to do 2 separate placements with agencies. I have fantastic conversations with students about what areas of practice they're interested in. And sometimes they wind up in a placement that they never thought they'd find themselves in, and they end up loving it. And so it just opens them up to a whole new world and builds those skills, builds that confidence, and builds those connections for when they go on to graduate and are looking for work in the field.
Wow. So 700 hours, you said?
Yeah.
Times how many students in the program? That's a lot of hours per year. That's all volunteer
Our
as
practicum
well.
coordinator is very busy.
Oh, I can imagine.
But we have fantastic relationships in the community. When we call and ask about placing a student, more often than not, our agencies are, yes, we would love to have a Booth student. We've got a great reputation in the field.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Is that would, to me, be part of what makes us distinctive? Are there any other things that make us distinctive in the School of Social Work?
I think that ability to kind of connect with the whole person. So, you know, we're about education for a better world here. We are a faith-based institution. We draw from the traditions and the values and the foundation that the Salvation Army has in terms of reaching out and working with the marginalized. But we also connect our values of hope and justice and mercy. Those are the 3 values that really guide and ground our work here at Booth in any program that you're in. But in social work in particular, it lines up so nicely with our social work values. Unconditional positive regard, seeking social justice, all of those things kind of twin very nicely with the values of hope, justice, and mercy. And so when we graduate students here, we graduate people who are going to make a difference in the world. It's often easier to see that in a social work skill set, but it's there in every graduate that we have.
It is, and I'm going to get you to put your academic dean hat on. Every student at Booth University College does some form of urban service learning.
They do, yes. So we have, when we talk about what's most important in our degrees here at Booth, that living out of hope, justice, and mercy is important. And the way that we found to access that was through having a required course for every student to connect in some way with some kind of service work. So our social work students do that through their social work placements, but every other student at Booth will have 30 hours of volunteer work that they do in, we call it an urban service learning environment, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in an urban setting depending on where you're from. We've got students from all across Manitoba, and so sometimes we coordinate with the area that a person is from. But yeah, that opportunity to engage with people in need, people who are marginalized, to figure out what does it mean to live out the values that I'm learning here at Booth.
Very much an experiential learning environment, which I know is a very positive thing,
Yeah.
both for the student and for our communities. I know I added it up, and it was the equivalent of about 30,000 hours of time our students spend within the community. So
Absolutely. Education for a better world, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. That was
Thank
an
you.
amazing, sorry for segueing a little
No,
bit,
that's-
but it does tie in with the experiential learning and some of the distinctives that we have with our social work programs.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Absolutely.
joining us and
Thank
enlightening
you.
us on why Booth UC for social work. Last but not least, in our socials or our school presentations is Dr. Evan Curtis from the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. I think he might convince you, as he did me, to enroll in psychology.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Evan Curtis. I'm an associate professor of psychology and behavioral sciences and currently the acting director for the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. I wish that I could be there interacting with you live, but I'm busy this morning teaching about research methods in social science. But I've been asked to just address a few questions for you today. And the first of those questions is what makes our programs in humanities and social sciences distinct from other institutions? Now, there are a few ways that I could answer this question, but the most important one for me is that we provide a lot of opportunities for students to go out into the world and do something. To go out into the world and apply and practice the things that they learn in our classrooms to help other people in a variety of ways. And really, the biggest part for me of education for a better world is to actually go out and make the world a better place. And we try to allow our students to do that. One of the most clear examples for me is in our social science programs. We place a lot of emphasis on opportunities for internship placements, where students will be set up with an agency where they can actually go and provide social services, provide outreach, help people with clinical issues that they might be having, and a variety of other opportunities. And those internships range from places such as Red River College all the way to direct mental health settings such as the Selkirk Mental Health Center. And I think that our students really benefit from those experiences. And what I hear from students is it's always one of the best parts of their degree. And something that we sort of uniquely emphasize at Booth, going out and doing something for other people as part of the program. The second question I'm being asked is for me, a simple one to answer. The question is, what makes me passionate about psychology? And I'll just answer it with another question. How could I not be passionate about it? Psychology, in its simplest sense, is the study of you and me. I get to ask the most interesting questions in the world about why we do the things that we do. What are the factors and forces that drive our behavior, our decision making, the ways that we interact with other people, and trying to unravel those mysteries, those complicated things stemming from our brain being expressed in the way that we interact with others is so fundamentally interesting. And I try to really, imbue that passion in students in the classroom, which fortunately for me isn't that hard to do. It's such an interesting topic that it's so just easy to talk about it. Now, the third and final question I've been asked to answer is what do students get out of an education at Booth University College, specifically in our humanities and social sciences programs? What are some outcomes or some people I can point to? Well, fortunately, our students are out in the world doing amazing things. We have some students who end up taking a very strong research focus in their programs, and we try to give opportunities for students to be directly involved in the research that we conduct as faculty. Those students often go on to apply to graduate programs and pursue those research interests, anywhere from University of Manitoba to Yale. I'm currently working with 2 students on a couple of papers as they prepare to apply for graduate school and try to get them published in scientific journals. And those students are collaborating and contributing in meaningful, important ways. We have other students who want to actually just go directly into the field and work and help people. We have students working in a variety of social service agencies, working for government, conducting research, really going out and providing outreach and providing support and providing program evaluations, again, to go make the world a better place. And that's what I really see as the benefit that we get from Booth. Not just on an individual student level, they go and get to do amazing, important things, but they also on a broader societal level get to make everything better for other people. And really that's the core of what we try to do here. If you ever want to reach out to me, I'm sure that Georgine and her team can provide contact information, and I'm always happy to chat about what we try to do here in the Humanities and Social Sciences. Have an excellent day. I hope to talk to somebody soon.
Thanks, Evan, for your passion. If any of your students wish to attend any of our classes at Booth University College to see why they may be a fit for them, please contact your admissions counselor, Keegan Braun, and he will connect you with the appropriate professor and class of their choice. And now we are delighted to welcome Rhonda Friesen, our Dean of Students. Student well-being is one of the most important factors in student success. We've talked a lot about educator well-being, and now we're going to shift a little bit to student well-being. And Rhonda and her team at Student Services work around the clock, actually, to ensure that our students are supported mentally, physically, emotionally, and academically. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you, Georgine.
It's so nice to have you here. Tell me a little bit about the Booth UC student body.
You know, Georgine, I think that the one thing that really stands out for me is that the students who attend Booth are students who are passionate about making a positive influence in their community upon graduation. So having said that, though, there's a lot of diversity in our student body. Students who come to Booth come at all ages and stages of life. We have students straight out of high school, as well as students who are kind of mid-career looking for a bit of a change. And we have students from many different cultural backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds. About 15% of our student body are international students, as well as many who are newcomers to Canada. And they come from many different cultural and faith tradition backgrounds as well. You know, Booth is a Christian university, but enrollment is open to all. So there's a lot of diversity in worldview and perspectives that really enrich the classroom. I would say that whoever you are, wherever you come from, you will find a welcoming environment at Booth.
That has been my experience too. It permeates throughout the whole institution. What are the ways, I know there's several ways that we support, Student Services supports student well-being, and you promote engagement as well. Can you tell me a little bit about some of those ways?
Absolutely. So our Student Services team actually works together with faculty and other staff on campus to really try and build a community, a holistic community of support around our students. We know how challenging post-secondary education can be, and of course we've heard a lot about the mental health, the importance of mental health while you're studying. So we have several specific supports that we offer on a continual basis free of charge to our students. For example, we have our Academic Learning Center where students can find one-on-one tutoring, group study groups, workshops that enhance their skills, their academic skills in writing, research, even time management, to really embrace a university culture, understand it, and succeed in it. We also offer accessibility services for students with disabilities, so that they can thrive in this learning environment according to their unique needs. Of course, we have a network of mental health supports for our students, aside from the Student Services team and instructors. We also have all of our Booth students are able to talk to a professional counselor anytime of the day or night, 24/7, any day of the year. So this is through our My Student Support program. They use either phone or video call, chat to connect with a counselor to talk about their unique needs and what they're struggling with. And we can also refer students to in-person appointments through different agencies and partners that we work with. We care about students' physical health as well as their mental health. So we have a small gymnasium on campus. We don't have competitive sports teams, but our students make good use of the space, having pickup games of a variety of sorts and just having different events. We also have partnerships with physical recreation facilities in the downtown area. And of course, we have different supports for different groups of students as well. For example, our international students in settlement and adjustment here.
That is a long list. So I know that other schools, many schools do provide supports. What, and I asked this of you, Rita, too, what makes Booth UC unique?
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of our distinctives maybe have already been referred to by others. But honestly, I think the fact that we are a Christian university located in a downtown urban environment is part of what makes us very special. As we've heard, social justice kind of permeates everything here. And students come here, are connected into the community through their practicums, their urban service learning opportunities, through volunteering, in very tangible and practical ways. And honestly, they're connecting with future employers, and I think that leads to a very high rate of graduation for many of our, high rate of employment for many of our grads. So I think that is one of our strengths and one of our distinctives. The close-knit community of support is also a real distinctive at Booth. At Booth, students are known by their name, not by their student number. So we really make an effort to get to know every student's unique aptitudes, strengths, and needs, and work with them.
I know that what is the student experience going to be is often a question we get from high school or students. What's it gonna feel like? So I think you've given us a really good idea of what that student experience would be. I had lunch yesterday with one of the students. So we interact, we support, we engage, and they engage with each other. So that community, I think, is what makes us unique as well.
We have a very active student council,
yes,
and students are frequently able to work with other staff and faculty on our awareness weeks. So there's a lot of activity at Booth outside of the class, and I think that enriches the learning in the class as well.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was really nice for you to take the time.
All right.
I appreciate
Thank you.
it very much, and I'm sure the audience does as well. So many good things are going on at Booth University College. I am joined now by our senior admissions counselor and your counselor, Keegan Braun, who's going to share with you some final thoughts and important dates, as well as answer any of the questions that you might have in the chat. So this is your time to put questions in the chat. Welcome, Keegan.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, so I hope that that you enjoyed kind of the presentation from our many different presenters and people that Georgine has interviewed today. My job is to support you and support your students through their journey from high school to university. And at Booth, we do that a couple different ways. I think we personalize our admissions process. What that means is that we're not treating your student as a consumer of a product, but as a person when they come through the doors at Booth. And so what that means is that that one of our admissions counselors, myself, Eliza, or Nicolette, will be journeying with your student from the time that they make contact with us to the point where they get enrolled. We're offering, we try to personalize the admissions process to that student. So if that means meeting over Zoom, we'll meet over Zoom. If that means them coming down to the building and having a meeting, that's what that means. If it's texting them, we want to meet your student where they're at. And that could mean right out of high school or a couple years down the line. A couple different resources that are available to you, of course, is me. I've been traveling around Manitoba the past 2 months, and I've been able to connect with many of you that are either watching this live or recorded right now. I've been able to clarify certain things about Booth, and that's why I'm here. I believe my contact information has been circulated. We've handed out, we've sent packages with view books, my card, and those are all things to help you. I know you're very busy, so kind of unload some of that responsibility onto us in your journeys. We're also in the middle of developing presentations for high school teachers to access, that they can have a Booth UC faculty member come and do presentations in their social studies or global issues class. We're in the middle of developing 3 topics right now and hoping to develop some in English as well, but the social studies ones will be first to be developed. 3 topics that are related to the curriculum, so we're adding value. We're not just coming to your school and talking about post-secondary education, but we want to show you what that means and show you what that means to your students as well. And that'll be up in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Important due dates, what everyone always is asking me. At Booth UC, for most of our applications, and that is for the School of Humanities and Social Sciences and the School of Business, there is no due date for the application. The due date would be the start of classes at the beginning of the term, and I always recommend that students should start a month out early. It makes life easier. But yeah, at the end of the day, there is no due date. It makes it more accessible. With that said, there are a few due dates, such as the school social work. April 30th is the due date for applications to be in. That is a very hard deadline. Also, we have our deadline for scholarships is also April 30th. Applications do not need to, applications for school don't necessarily need to be in, but the application has to be started for the student to apply for a scholarship. Again, that's April 30th. And we're also supporting our students through that process as well. If the student wants to talk to one of the admissions counselors or myself about what scholarships they potentially could apply for, we would go through the website with them and pick out the ones that they would apply for, or that they would apply for. That's kind of what I had.
Keegan. And I know that the accessibility of our programs is reflected in the fact that there is no application fee. So for domestic students,
Yes.
there is no, and American students, there is no application fee. So it is accessible regardless of the strata of needs of your students. So we encourage them to start a conversation, start an application, explore, come to Booth, wander the halls with Keegan, meet the professors. So, are there any questions that we need to answer on set? Okay, I think that's a wrap for 2022. Thank you to all of our guest speakers, Keegan, who made this event so rich with content. Thank you to the whole advancement team for organizing. And on behalf of us all, we thank you, our educators, who work tirelessly to ensure that your students have success. Take care and be well.